Here's a truth that very few people will tell you. Men do not fall in love the way women do, and if you keep expecting them to, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Most people think love is a spark, a magical instant, a moment of chemistry, a flash of fireworks. But for men, love doesn't work like that. Love isn't a single moment, it's a process, and it doesn't start when you assume it does. Studies show that for most men, emotional attachment develops only after specific triggers are met, not before. That's why it can feel like everything is going perfectly, and then suddenly he pulls away. He's not confused, he's not scared, he's simply not there yet. Here's the surprising part. A man can be physically attracted, emotionally engaged, even very consistent in communication, and still not be in love. Because for men, love has a gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper is emotional safety. Until that door opens, nothing else matters. In truth, the exact moment a man begins to fall is subtle and rarely dramatic. It's not always about intensity or grand gestures. Timing matters far more than fireworks. And understanding this can stop you from chasing a connection that isn't really ready to exist. If you've ever wondered why he acts like he cares but won't fully commit, the answer is here, and what you discover might explain every failed relationship you've ever experienced. To understand how men fall in love, you have to stop seeing emotions the way you personally feel them and start looking at how men are wired to process feelings. From an early age, many men are taught either directly or indirectly that vulnerability is a weakness. They're told to stay strong, to be in control, not to show too much emotion. So what happens? They learn to separate emotions from logic, desire from openness, connection from risk. It doesn't mean men don't feel deeply, they absolutely do, but they access those feelings very differently than women do. A man can feel attachment and even affection while still protecting his heart. Why? Because love requires a sense of safety. Emotional safety for a man isn't about your looks, your availability, or how much fun he has with you. It's built through reliability, respect, and most importantly, the freedom to be himself without judgment. Men fall in love quietly. They process internally. There's no dramatic announcement or emotional explosion. Often, the moment a man truly realizes he's in love is so subtle, he barely notices it himself. It shows in small but consistent ways. Protecting your time, remembering tiny details about you, prioritizing your happiness without any need for praise. If you focus only on romantic gestures or declarations, you might miss the real signs. Many women expect love to look like a movie, but for men, love often appears as quiet, steady consistency. This is why so many relationships feel unbalanced at first. Women tend to give, nurture, and express, waiting for the same in return, while men are quietly analyzing, evaluating whether they can trust you with their hearts before they open them fully. Understanding male psychology isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about meeting him where he is, not where you want him to be. Once you recognize how men really operate emotionally, everything shifts. You stop chasing clarity because suddenly his behavior makes sense. And that's when a real connection begins. We've all been taught that love should strike like lightning, sudden, undeniable, overwhelming. Movies, books, and pop culture have romanticized this idea for decades. While it feels enchanting, the truth is, the expectation of instant love has caused more heartbreak and confusion than almost anything else in modern dating. The idea of love at first sight seems attractive because it promises certainty. Meet someone, sparks fly, and everything feels perfect. But what we often call love in that moment is actually attraction, infatuation, or chemistry. And while none of these are bad, they aren't love. Men especially often confuse early physical attraction with emotional attachment. A man can be fully drawn to you, fascinated, excited, even obsessed in the beginning, yet he's not in love. He's simply stimulated. Interpreting this early intensity as deep emotional connection can lead to investing far too much too soon in something that hasn't yet rooted itself. Real love takes time. It requires shared experiences, emotional trust, vulnerability, and most importantly, consistency over time. Instant attraction cannot provide these things. The myth of instant love also creates unnecessary panic. When a connection doesn't ignite immediately, people assume it's not meant to be. But in reality, many lasting relationships grow slowly. That gradual process is what allows real intimacy to flourish. Men in particular tend to develop feelings gradually, often without even realizing it until much later. It's not that they're unavailable, it's that their version of falling in love doesn't match the dramatic, cinematic version most women imagine. True love isn't instant, it's earned, it's revealed slowly. It requires more than chemistry, it demands attention, patience, and emotional maturity. When you let go of the myth, you stop chasing fleeting feelings and start noticing depth, and that's when everything changes. Most people don't like to admit it, but many relationships fail before they even have the chance to become true love. Not because the bond isn't strong, but because the emotional foundation was never built. Early dating often involves people wearing masks, not out of deception, but out of habit. You present your best side, filter your thoughts, play it safe, avoid anything too risky or intense. When two people focus more on being liked than on being known, real connection can't grow. For men, this challenge is even more noticeable because emotional vulnerability is unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Many men approach relationships with a mix of hope and caution. They want intimacy, but are also protective, testing boundaries and evaluating risk. If emotional safety is missing early on, they might remain present, but never fully commit emotionally. Women, conversely, tend to connect emotionally first and seek confirmation later. This imbalance is why early relationships can feel one-sided. One person may be fully invested, while the other is still assessing whether they can trust their heart. And this is when things start to unravel, not because either is wrong, but because the conditions for love were never created. People rush to define the relationship, to seek validation, to claim commitment before any real depth exists. In doing so, they kill curiosity and turn potential intimacy into pressure. Love does not thrive under pressure, it grows under presence. Many relationships fail, not because of a lack of interest, but because of a lack of readiness. Without time and space to feel safe, understood, and truly seen, love simply cannot develop. There is a critical moment in every man's emotional journey, a point where everything changes, often not when you expect. It's not after a perfect date, it's not after you look your best, it's not even when all the words seem right. What actually shifts everything is a single emotional trigger, the moment he feels safe enough to drop his defenses. This is something most people overlook. Women often express love through connection and communication, but men respond to emotional security. When a man realizes he can be completely himself without judgment, without ego, without performing, and still feel accepted, something profound happens. He begins to open up, not just to share his life, but to share the parts of himself he rarely shows anyone. It's not about surface-level interactions, it's about energy, presence, and response. Do you listen without judgment? Do you hold space when he doubts himself? Do you offer connection rather than correction? Men are constantly evaluating whether emotional intimacy is worth the risk. Many have been taught that expressing feelings is a weakness, so they suppress them, hiding in small doses. But when he recognizes that you can handle his truth, not just his charm, that's the trigger. Once that moment arrives, everything shifts. He starts showing up differently, emotionally present, and genuinely engaged in ways you may not have noticed before. He prioritizes you not because he feels he has to, but because he genuinely cares and is emotionally invested. He starts thinking about the long term, imagining a future together, not just planning dates or fun moments, but considering deeper aspects of life with you. You will notice subtle but clear differences in his behavior. His energy becomes more consistent. His words begin to align with his actions. He doesn't only show interest, he begins showing real intention. That moment, that opening of his heart, is when love truly starts. Not infatuation, not obsession, but real, grounded connection. If that window is missed, if you try to push love before that emotional trigger is ready, the relationship often stays shallow. But when you understand it and allow it to happen naturally, you unlock something rare. A man who feels safe enough to open fully without fear. Saying "I love you" is one of the most emotionally powerful moments in any relationship. While it may seem like the ultimate step toward intimacy, the timing of those words can make or break everything. Most people don't realize that saying it too early or for the wrong reasons doesn't build connection, it creates pressure. Many people say "I love you" not because they are overflowing with emotion, but because they want reassurance. They hope to hear it back, to confirm that the other person feels the same, to validate themselves. But love isn't a strategy, it's the reflection of something that already exists. For men in particular, those words carry a different weight. Many men process emotions more slowly. They may be falling in love, but are still figuring out how to express it. Saying "I love you" too early can corner them emotionally. Instead of feeling closer, they may feel pushed into something they aren't ready for. That can create distance instead of intimacy. The wrong time to say those words is when the emotional foundation hasn't been fully established, when things are new, when he hasn't let his guard down, when consistency and vulnerability haven't been shown yet. If you speak them during the early passion or infatuation, it may feel intense at the moment, but it often doesn't land as expected. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, a commitment, and a reflection of emotional trust. If you say it first and he isn't ready, the response may be polite but distant, a hesitant smile, or worse, a forced "I love you too" that doesn't feel genuine. That shifts the energy between you. You feel exposed, he feels pressure, and the natural flow of connection is interrupted. Real love needs space to emerge. If you wait, not out of fear, but out of respect for the pace of the relationship, those words will eventually come, undeniable, backed by actions, presence, and emotional depth. Saying "I love you" should never be a test, a plea, or a strategy. It should reflect something already alive and mutual, even if not spoken yet. The right moment is when both feel emotionally safe. That is when the words resonate deeply. Before saying them, ask yourself, am I speaking to connect or to be validated? That distinction reveals whether it is love or just longing. Consider real-world moments. These aren't fairy tale scenarios, but illustrate how true love emerges quietly. Take one couple. They had been dating for months, sharing fun weekends, deep conversations, and obvious chemistry, yet he remained emotionally guarded. One night, during a casual conversation about childhood, she mentioned a memory involving her father. Without thinking, he shared a deeply personal story about his own family, something he had never revealed to anyone he was dating. That moment marked the beginning of love for him. It was quiet, without grand gestures or declarations, but undeniable. Another couple, long distance, maintained daily calls and texts, yet the connection stayed surface level. One weekend, she visited and became sick, completely miserable. He didn't hesitate. He brought her food, changed her sheets, stayed with her through the night. He didn't try to impress her, he simply showed up. Later, he realized he cared far more than he had thought, and in that weekend, love became real. Another example, a woman assumed love would arrive through grand gestures, flowers, surprises, and fireworks. Instead, one evening, after a stressful week at work, her partner simply told her, "You don't have to be strong with me all the time. No performance, no pressure, just presence." That simple sentence made her feel seen and understood in a way she had never experienced. That quiet presence marked the beginning of love. Love rarely begins with dramatic displays. It starts quietly in patience, vulnerability, and emotional safety. Moments often overlooked, but infinitely more meaningful. Emotional connection in men doesn't happen the way many assume. It is less a lightning bolt than a puzzle built slowly, piece by piece, with shared experiences adding layers of trust. Men don't connect emotionally through words first. They often connect through experiences. While women may develop closeness through conversation, men typically feel emotional attachment through time spent together, shared routines and reliability. A man might not say, "I'm getting attached," but small shifts become noticeable. He lets you into his world, introduces you to friends, includes you in routines, and talks about a future with you in it. These aren't casual actions, they are emotional markers. Every step toward vulnerability is a test. Can I trust her with more of myself? Will she honor it or betray it? Emotional connection in men grows quietly. It might not be accompanied by long talks or tearful confessions, but appears in how he listens, remembers the small things you say, and protects your time and energy. These subtle behaviors are major indicators of emotional growth. Men value consistency over intensity. Grand romantic gestures are less important than feeling that you are emotionally steady and present, not forcing anything. When he realizes he can be himself without judgment or pressure, the connection deepens profoundly. Once this bond is formed, it is strong and rooted, not superficial. It shows not in words, but in actions. He starts showing up when it matters, remembers what is important to you, and chooses you because it feels right, not out of obligation. Understanding emotional connection in men means letting go of assumptions. It means allowing space while remaining emotionally present. Silence does not equal disinterest. It often signals internal processing. Respecting this process gives love room to grow. If you wonder where you stand, don't rely only on words. Observe how he places the pieces of the puzzle. Not every man announces his feelings. Most wait until they are sure, safe, and emotionally processed, but the signs are there if you know how to read them. Intentionality in his time is one of the first signs. You're no longer fitting into his schedule. He makes room for you, adjusts plans, and prioritizes your presence even when inconvenient. Men don't invest time in people they are uncertain about. Another clear sign is his response to your emotions. If he listens when you are upset, remembers what matters to you, and becomes protective of your mental and emotional well-being, he is emotionally invested. Most men aren't trained to comfort others naturally, so these small actions signal real care and commitment. So, if he's putting in effort, it's because he cares on a level deeper than casual interest. You'll also notice that he includes you in his real life, not just the highlight moments he wants to show the world. You meet his friends, maybe even his family. He brings you into his world, not to impress you, but to see if you fit naturally into the life that matters to him. When a man begins integrating you into these meaningful spaces, it's not just a romantic gesture, it's a clear sign he's thinking long term. Then there are the smaller moments that might seem insignificant, but carry weight. He checks in during the day without a reason, remembers how you take your coffee, or casually mentions something you said a week ago. These small details indicate that you're on his mind even when you're not around. He may also go quiet at times, not because he's withdrawing, but because he's processing internally. When a man starts to fall for someone, there's often a period of inner conflict where his heart is ahead of his mind. He may not know how to express what he's feeling verbally, but he'll demonstrate it in other ways. Small acts of thoughtfulness, showing up consistently, being present and reliable. And ultimately, the most important sign is that he doesn't need a label to treat you like you matter. Whether or not he has said the words, his actions make you feel emotionally secure. You don't feel like you're performing for approval. You feel chosen, even if it hasn't been explicitly stated. So, if you're wondering where you stand, stop overanalyzing the words he hasn't said and start paying attention to the actions he is taking. If he's falling, his behavior already reflects it, even if his words haven't caught up yet. If there's one crucial takeaway from everything discussed, it's this. Deep, lasting love isn't a lightning strike. It's a slow burn. It's built on trust, emotional safety, and presence over time. Many people approach love like a sprint, rushing to declarations and quick fixes. But real love requires patience and intention. The first key to building lasting love is understanding emotional safety. For a man to truly fall, he needs to feel safe enough to be vulnerable without fear of judgment, rejection, or pressure. That safety comes from consistent respect, listening without immediately trying to fix things, and accepting him as he is, flaws, insecurities, and all. Emotional safety cannot be rushed. It develops gradually through everyday actions, showing up when it counts, being reliable, and communicating openly without blame or criticism. When a man feels he doesn't have to hide parts of himself or wear a mask, real connection can begin to deepen. The second key is creating space for vulnerability, yours and his. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a bridge. When you share your fears, dreams, and authentic self, it invites him to do the same, but it requires balance. Push too hard, and you risk closing him off. Pull back too much, and connection stalls. The goal is to gently encourage openness while respecting his pace. Next, remember that love grows through shared experiences and consistent presence. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic moments. It's in the quiet times, like cooking together, having honest conversations, or being there for each other during challenging days. These moments act like deposits in an emotional bank account. Over time, they build a foundation that love can rest on safely. Another essential element is patience. Men often take longer to process emotions and commit mentally. Trying to rush clarity or force commitment before he's ready can push him away. Instead, stay present, remain curious, and offer steady support without demanding proof of love. Finally, create a relationship where both partners feel fully seen and valued. This means appreciating who he is beyond surface-level attraction and also honoring your own needs and boundaries. Deep love requires mutual respect, not just admiration. When both people feel truly known and accepted, love isn't just a fleeting feeling. It becomes a secure home. If you want lasting love, stop chasing instant answers or dramatic moments. Focus on building trust, providing emotional safety, and sharing your authentic self consistently over time. Love is not a single moment you wait for. It's a life that you create together, carefully, patiently, and intentionally.